You do English good.
I kind of broke up a fight the other day with this crazy old man that was honking at a woman, Latino woman, who was taking care of somebody else's baby. She was trying to get the kid out of the car. There were like 7 other parking spaces, and this guy wanted to squeeze in and was honking and was yelling at her. And I said, "No hay una problema. Él es un idiota." There's not a problem
yes,
here.
he
He's
is.
an idiot.
Yeah, he is.
She's screaming at him, and rightfully so. But I used my Spanish and my fake cop skills.
From Reno 911. Yeah.
I was totally Garcia. I totally Garcia'd it.
Good for you.
No tengo
Yay.
no tiene un problema, ma'am.
Now, did you grow up speaking Argentinian Spanish?
Well, until about the age of 5. So yeah, we heard terms like fideos con manteca, which is spaghetti and butter.
Okay.
La palita, which was the dustpan. All kinds of stuff. No me digas, Carlito, dame un beso. Give me a... So we heard those things growing up, but then in 1960s, the common belief was that you shouldn't speak Spanish to your kids. They'll have trouble learning English. They'll grow up with accents, and so that happened in our house. We stopped speaking, and I had to relearn it. So, but we have the ear for it. So
Okay.
There we go.
Well, yeah, I mean, you knew it at some point. Like, I learned French starting in first grade.
Yeah, I did too. I took my first French class in first grade.
Because it's so important in Southern California to speak French.
Yeah.
But I took it and I could speak it very, very well, and I understood more than like, even if I didn't know the grammar, I would understand what somebody was saying back to me.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I stopped, I don't remember it, but I know that I could, if I immersed myself in...
Like, if I went to Paris, I could probably survive.
Well, I actually used, this is funny, I used my pigeon French skills in Italy.
Oh.
We were in...
It's a Romance language.
It
They're
is.
kind of similar.
Italy.
Yeah.
Italy. And we were in Roma, and I was in a store, and I wanted this jacket, but it came with a pair of pants, and I didn't want the pants. And the lady that was working there, she only spoke Italian, and I only spoke English, but we both spoke enough French.
Oh, nice.
So that we understood.
Switzerland.
Exactly. So we understood each other, and when she figured it out, and we hugged. We were so happy.
Lots of sign language.
Yeah.
I think that the misconception of Spanish is that it's this brown language, when in fact, like Italian,
Spain,
it comes
yeah.
from Europe. And so people are afraid of Spanish because to them in this country, it comes from brown-skinned people. They have this fear of it. And I always try to remind people, it's like English, it's like Latin, it's like German. It came from Europe, where a lot of white folks are. Don't be afraid of it.
Yeah, and it's got a lot of accents and dialects to it, too. It's not all one big monolith of a language.
Well, just like American.
Like English.
Exactly.
Like
English.
American.
We speak American English.
Yeah.
You either speak MAGA or you speak the truth.
Exactly. Like when I worked for a specific hotel chain and we had to do training videos, it was Castilian Spanish versus Latin American Spanish.
Okay.
Yeah.
English and different Portuguese. Brazilian Portuguese versus Portugal Portuguese.
Right,
English,
which are very different.
Very different.
Yeah.
And then English versus American English, Canadian French versus France. I mean, it was like we had to translate in all these different languages constantly, and it cost a small fortune. But I mean, I learned how many different, like in Portugal, they speak different than they do in Brazil.
They do.
So it's very interesting to kind of go, you know, I'm trying to learn Espanol.
Yeah, it's good for us to be able to communicate as best we can, and I applaud anybody trying to. And this is probably what this guy didn't realize when he was arguing with this woman. Is like he was probably thinking to himself, "Speak better English," and I'm like, "She's speaking 2 languages."
No kidding. No kidding. I mean, my pharmacist is actually French.
Oh.
And several years ago, I was waiting to get my meds because I have medication because I'm an old lady.
Would you like the Oxycontin?
And he was speaking to a customer, and they were both just conversing in French. And I was standing, and I was listening to him, and he looks at me and goes, "Did you understand what we were saying?" I said, "A little bit."
A little bit.
A little bit. It wasn't anything untoward, so that was good.
Yeah.
Untoward.
So did you hear this story about CIA officials reportedly having discussions about kidnapping or assassinating Julian Assange?
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a fan of his by any stretch of the imagination, but
that's no bueno.
That is no bueno. Apparently, Mike Pompeo spearheaded these lovely discussions. Yeah, Yahoo News released a report on Sunday claiming that CIA and other Trump administration officials had proposals back in 2017 to abduct him from the embassy in London.
Wow.
Yeah.
Before he could tell the truth?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, but what was weird was he's a staunch supporter of Trump. If you look at what he did during the 2016 election, maybe it's because he knows the truth, and they're like, he might talk eventually.
Yes.
Because he got the dump from Russia. So
yeah.
Maybe that's it. And senior officials inside the CIA even discussed killing him, going so far as to request sketches or options on how to assassinate him. This needs to be having hearings.
Wow.
Discussions over kidnapping or killing him occurred at the highest levels of the Trump administration, said a former senior counterintelligence official, and there seemed to be no boundaries. I mean, Pompeo sought vengeance against him for the publication of Vault 7, which was a trove of documents with insights into the CIA's hacking capabilities, which is Pompeo had been CIA. But wow, this is scary.
This could explain the willingness of most of the entire Republican Party to bow at this guy's feet. Is that he's very Putin-like. Like, we're going to kill you. Your whole family will die. In not so secret, Yeah. There has to be an explanation that Lindsay flips a 180,
Well, I think that like Hoover, I think they have dirt on them too, not just I'm going to kill you and, hey.
I racked balls until the sun came up.
Yes, I think so. But yeah, U.S. officials also considered killing him. One of those officials said he was briefed in the spring of 2017 meeting in which the president asked whether the CIA could assassinate Assange and provide him options for the president asked this.
So what did Assange know, or what does he know?
Well, remember that the email drop that came from Russia, and the RNC had also been hacked.
Yep.
So most likely he had those too. He just chose not to dump those.
Yes.
So he has or had information, probably still does, somebody does, besides Putin. So the concern, I bet, was he may talk and spill the beans one day.
Yeah.
In exchange for anything, because he's still in trouble.
Yeah. I racked balls until the sun came up.
There you go.
So that might be what it is. Like, he knows where the bodies are buried. And they wanted to silence him for that. That's the only reason for them to think that way, as far as my brain goes. Scary, though.
This guy operates. He is. Oh, it's so frightening right now. We're teetering. We are just teetering.
Thank you, Dan Quayle.
Republican heroes. Come on, don't make me love Liz Cheney more.
Exactly. No kidding.
I need to dissipate that among other Republicans.
I know, and Dan Quayle saved the Republic by telling Mike Pence, no, you can't do that. The 6-point memo. It's like, it's... He should have also called Al Gore, who had to certify an election he actually won.
Yes.
He literally won that election to the guy that lost the election, and Al Gore never said, once the final recount was done properly, not like the BS ones that are going on, he didn't go, hey, decertify Florida, because you don't do that.
Nope.
You don't.
Peaceful transition of power. We've always had that. And that's another thing that just skated by after the insurrection, is like that Trump didn't show up for the inauguration. Just another thing that skated by. I can't believe the SH stuff that he gets away with.
I agree with you. I agree with you completely. Here we go. Let's go to... Hi, Gabriel from Miami. How are you?
Uh-oh.
Okay.
He doesn't understand you because the first language in Miami is Spanish.
Yeah.
¿Dónde está Gabriel?
There you
¿Qué
go.
pasó?
There you go. We have been having a little bit of issues this morning with our phone, so there is that.
Yeah, so let's start it again.
So Omarosa
her.
just won the lawsuit against her that Trump tried to enforce her NDA. She has now won that lawsuit. He lost. He was
Bigly.
Bigly.
It's hard to have an NDA when you're working in a public
exactly
facility.
Right.
You know, when you're working for the people.
Right.
You shouldn't have an NDA. If you're in a private organization, he can make you sign an NDA.
Right.
But not when you're working for the people.
Yeah, he sued her after she published the tell-all book about him in 2018. The decision in the case with Donald's campaign filed in a lawsuit with the American Arbitration Association comes as the former president is enmeshed, obviously, in a number of other investigations. She said, quote, that he has used this type of vexatious litigation.
Vexatious.
That's a nice word. To intimidate, harass, and bully for years. Finally, the bully has met his match. Yeah. We won. We beat the former president of the United States at his own game and added precedent to show his NDA is worthless, which means anybody else who signed NDAs in the White House can now spill the beans. I mean, they are anyway.
Yes. Because they are vexatious.
They are vexatious. I love that
Great
word.
stripper name, by the way. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage, Vexatious.
She is a voluptuous vexatious. Yeah, I mean, with Stephanie Grisham, obviously she signed an NDA, so anybody else is not going to. He doesn't have a leg to stand on, which is fine, because we don't like him anyway. He is. Oh,
we don't like him.
We don't like him. He bothers me.
Nor does Mary Trump.
No,
That's
Mary.
right.
Mary does not like him one bit.
Not at all.
And I can't wait for her to win her lawsuits.
Yeah.
Here we go.
All right.
Let's see. Robert, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yay!
Yay! We hear you.
Oh, Maron.
I know,
You
right?
know what? I'm working with a crew. I'm out of my element here. I'm working with a crew. They do nothing all day until lunchtime. Then they want to look busy for the boss. You ever work with these kind of people?
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
They're the worst.
that's me.
All right. So anywho, you guys were talking about a lot of things, and I celebrate multilingual people because my first language was Sicilian, which is, some people would even argue is not a language, but tell that to my parents. The more languages you know, the better you are. But everything is on your palm of your hands now. The Apple phone, you can translate 30 languages with a paragraph, and you can get by in this world. You really don't have to learn anything anymore.
No.
My wife Mary Ann, she's an MD. She speaks Latin. Believe it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway,
Wow.
that's not why I called. I'm not even calling about that. I just had a brag for my wife because I love her. But I call about the Rose Garden. The Republicans always complain about cancel culture. They bulldozed that thing down so fast for that Soviet lady there with the hell's her name, Melania. It looks like a gulag now. I drive by, cemeteries got more charisma. It's just, and our first lady now, Jill, she's a paisana. She's a Sicilian like us,
Yeah?
Well, me, not you people.
Not like us. No, not us. people.
where's
Forget
the
about it.
tomato
Come on, I'm
garden, the
13%.
garlic, the basil. Yeah, Carlos, we need a tomato garden, some basil, some basilico, maybe some parcel. You got to grow some vegetables over there, Turn it around, make it look nice. All right, listen. I'm going to run over this guy's lunchbox because I hate him.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Robert.
Well,
A little bit of pesto.
had she turned the Rose Garden into a garden, that would have also plagiarized Michelle Obama.
Uh-huh.
See,
They
she should have
ripped that garden right out.
They did.
They did.
I don't like colors.
I
I
don't
don't
like-
want the colors in the garden.
Money, money, money,
Money,
money, money, money,
money, money.
money, money, money. is
The
all
Color
I
of
want.
Money is a good movie, and it's also my favorite color.
It is. It is. So Kristi Noem is a douche.
Yeah, she's the governor of South Dakota.
South Dakota.
Oh, boy.
Right, exactly. So apparently she tried to get. There's a scandal with her daughter who was denied a real estate appraiser license in 2020. Noem called the woman that ran the agency as well as her daughter, and then 1 week later, she got the licensing. Mm-hmm. She got the upgrade.
Yep.
But 1 week later, the Secretary of Labor called for the retirement of the agency head because she was the one that didn't approve of it at first.
Right.
And so Noem literally is saying, "Stop bothering my children." It's like, okay, first off, she's an adult.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
And secondly, it looks like you did something untoward.
She used the power of the state government to bend the rules.
Exactly.
There's no corruption like Noem.
Yep.
Yeah, she literally said, the Associated Press is disparaging the governor's daughter in order to attack the governor politically. No wonder America's trust in the media
she's
is
a
at an
citizen
all-time.
of South Dakota who did something wrong.
Yeah, it's corruption.
Exactly.
I mean, it's blatant corruption on her part.
Yeah, she's fair game for the press.
Yeah, the Bren, who was fired, filed an age discrimination suit, which she did win. She settled for $200,000, and so now it's done because she was going. That's why she was fired. But I think she was fired because she wasn't doing the job that Kristi Noem wanted her to do. So I hope that this takes her down.
Yeah.
I hope so.